In this video, I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions all about your CV. Welcome to the channel. My name is Jane Foray, career coach for frustrated professionals who are ready to take the next step up in their career. If you've just arrived here, then don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. So I work with a number of professional people, all of whom have very similar questions when it comes to CVs. So here's my view. The first question then is, how long should my CV be? Now, the thing to remember when you are writing a CV is that there's going to be someone who is reading your CV. So you may have had a wide range of responsibilities in the past, but how many of them are actually relevant for the job in which you are submitting your CV? Remember that when the person or the hiring manager is going through CVs, they're generally going through at least 20 at one time. So if all of the CVs that they are looking at are 3 pages long, that's 20 extra pages of text that they need to read. So if you absolutely cannot condense your CV to 2 pages, then the page 3 better be good and something that you absolutely cannot leave out. Well, that's the answer to that question from me, is keep your CV to 2 pages and make sure that everything on those 2 pages is targeted and relevant for the opportunity that you're putting yourself forward for. The second question is, why do I need to write a CV for each application? I get so much pushback about this from my clients. The thing is that each and every job will be slightly nuanced in some way. So when I was in the job market looking at jobs like HR business partner is such a wide-ranging job that in each organisation the emphasis of that role is different. So in some organisations it could be that the role is about pulling together succession plans and development plans for the people who are on those succession plans, right? Other times it could be around, right, we really need to drive employee engagement. Others it could be around negotiating pay uplift with trade unions. So even though a HR business partner can do all 3 of those different elements of the role, in terms of the organisation, which bit of the HR business partner role is relevant for them? So what is their priority in terms of their business strategy and their people strategy? And you need to put that front and centre of your application. So in terms of the question, should you write a CV for each application? Then the answer is absolutely yes, because what you are trying to do is spotlight the areas of your expertise that are most relevant for that opportunity. And there's no way that one generic CV can do all of that. So my advice is always to create a master copy CV and then pull out the most relevant skills and achievements for each particular opportunity. The third question is, how far back in experience should I go? Now, this really depends on your own personal work experience, but as a rule of thumb, I'd say about 10 to 15 years absolute max. But again, ask yourself, what part of your experience is actually relevant for this particular opportunity that you are putting yourself forward for? So what you might have done is you might have worked at one particular company for a long time, in which case you can state how long you were there. But you might have had a number of different roles within that organisation. So you only really need to list the roles that cover you for the past between 10 and 15 years. But really think about, if you're going 15 years back in your work history, is that really relevant for the role that you are now applying for in the future? Next question, do I need to put dates against my education? The short answer is not, if you don't want to. I mean, the long and short of it is somebody can figure out how old you are more or less based on the dates that you might have done your degree or you were at school. And age discrimination can work at all ages. So you might be considered too young for a certain opportunity. You might be considered too old for a certain opportunity. So my advice is, if you don't want to put dates against your education, then you absolutely do not have to. The important thing is whether you've got a certain qualification or not the time or the year or the date when you achieved it. So the next question is, should I include my address on my CV? Now, when I left university kind of 20 years ago, the only way to apply for a job was to print out a copy of your CV, print out a covering letter, put them in an envelope and post them via the Royal Mail, right? In which case, if I wanted a reply, then I had to put my address on. But now it's different. It's quite rare that you would put a hard copy of your CV and covering letter in an envelope. Most job applications are either through some sort of online portal or via email. You do not need to put your home address on. And I think nowadays there's also some safety concerns around that. So you certainly do not need to be giving your home address to an organisation unless what they're sending you is your contract of employment to sign or a nice welcome gift. Next question, do I need to include references on my CV? Now, there are many differing views on this, but my view is no, you do not. So I've seen many CVs that have used vital space on the CV to list the name, the address, the contact details of the person who has agreed to act as a reference for them. You will need, or you may need, references in certain types of roles, but you will only need those when you have accepted the job or as part of that offering process. On your CV, this is your opportunity to present yourself as a perfect candidate for the role. So use that space to demonstrate your skills, experience and expertise that show you are a perfect candidate for the role. Don't waste space on your CV putting contact details for referees. There might be a long drawn out recruitment process, and by the time we get down to asking for references, they've kind of lost your CV. It's kind of with the recruitment team. You will be asked for those details again, so don't waste space on your CV including referees' details. Another question I'm often asked is, should I include a photo? Now, I know that in some parts of the world it's common practice to use a photo on your CV, but in the UK it certainly is not, and it's something that's absolutely not necessary. If you're asked to include a photo as part of an application process, I would certainly question why that is the case. So short answer to this question is no, you do not need to include a photo, certainly in the UK. So the next question is a bit tougher. So I'm often asked by people that haven't been in their last job for too long how they can show this on their CV without sort of disadvantaging themselves. So in this case, I mean, this is happening quite frequently now. So certainly during COVID, people have taken some short-term projects. Maybe you've taken a job and it hasn't quite worked out, and you've decided to cut your losses and go back into the job market. The answer to this question is the functional CV. So rather than listing your skills, experience and expertise via your jobs in reverse chronological order, you list them via your competencies. So things like leadership, communication skills, project management, financial awareness, things like that. So if you're concerned that the last job is a job that's, a few months long, then don't use the chronological CV, use the functional CV. If you wanted to stick with the chronological CV because the rest of it really works for you, then I would certainly cover that off either in your cover letter or in your executive summary. So I'm often asked, how do I quantify my contribution when I was part of a team and we were all working towards the same outcome? I'm going to challenge you to really dig deep and think about what your contribution was to that team. Maybe what you did is you produced some data and you completed an initial analysis that was then used to make some decisions about the future of the business. Maybe you worked in a program management office and one of your roles was to review the risks and issues log and to alert the right people of the right issue or risk at the right time. Maybe what you have is a laser focused attention to detail, and what you were asked to do was to proofread every single document or presentation before it went up to the board so that your team was seen in the best possible light. The really important thing to remember here is that hiring managers are interested in you and your skills, what you are going to bring to the role, not what your team did. So you need to really dig deep and think hard about what was your particular role within that team. Penultimate question is, how do I ensure that my CV is relevant for the role? So this is where your research comes into play. So before you send off a CV, you should really find out much more about that role, that organisation, why the vacancy exists, and what the hiring manager is looking for. Once you have got that information clear in your head, then you can look at your database copy of your CV and figure out which elements of that are the perfect elements to include in a CV that you can put forward with confidence to that hiring manager. I think to remember, when anyone is making a hiring decision, they want that hire to make the best possible impression on the business, because they're also a reflection of the hiring manager and their decision-making skills. So spell out your exact experience and make it obvious to the hiring manager that you are a natural fit for the role. The final question, I'm often asked this by individuals who've been doing a lot of short-term project or contract, or fixed-term contract type roles, is, do I need to distinguish between contract and permanent roles? The short answer is no, you don't, because it doesn't make any difference. You are still exercising the skills and capabilities to be able to do that role confidently and competently. If what you have is a number of short-term contract roles, then I would suggest using the functional CV rather than the traditional chronological CV. So particularly if you've been doing the same role over and over and over again, I would group your achievements by competency. So project management, communication, human resourcing, team leadership, for example. So group your achievements by competency rather than by a particular job role. You can then include a work history at the end, no problem. But remember, what you're selling is your skills, your experience, your expertise, and what you are going to do for the future, for your future line manager. So if you'd like to learn more about CVs, how to put them together, I've mentioned the functional CV quite a few times today, then you can get your hands on a copy of my ebook, which is called How to Write Your Best Ever CV. And I've left a link for that down below. Just click on the link, enter your details, and a copy of it will be in your inbox within minutes. You've got templates in there. I'll talk you through how to structure your achievements as well as your executive summary. So that's just a few of the frequently asked questions that I'm asked regularly by my clients. So if you found this useful, then please do click on that like button, share this video with anybody who you think would get value from it, and subscribe for future episodes. My name is Jane Foray, career coach for frustrated professionals. I'll see you on the next video.